Hello and welcome to Workhorse Wrestling Network. You are gathered with us tonight for the most chaotic wrestling review show in the multiverse. This is All For
NAWT NAWT.
NAWT.
Yes, we are back as always here on Wednesday live, 7:15 p.m. Eastern, 10:15. I'm sorry, that's 10:15 Eastern, 7:15 Pacific. My bad, and 9:15 if you're Central in Sammy's time zone. So, let's see. As usual, we're going
West of the
to
Mississippi.
we're going to discuss Raw from Monday and NXT from last night. Anything you want to say just in general before we get into the more specific stuff or no? Just crack right into it?
Let's crack right into it.
All right, let's jump right into it with the Raw review. So Raw on Monday night opened with your boy, Drew McIntyre, taken to the ring with his microphone. Thankfully, minus the sword. I'm glad the sword was not in his hands. And he
A clear
proceeded
sign that
to,
Vince is gone.
yeah, he proceeded to. I want to use the word whine. Drew doesn't really whine. He doesn't have that kind of tone. I don't know that he even has the ability to really do that. But let's say complain.
Yeah.
How about wallow in a little self-pity? How about that? Play the victim a
Nothing
little
wrong
bit.
with that.
Nothing wrong with that. He says he doesn't need the bloodline to help him win matches. And eventually we get World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins interrupting him. And these two have a little tete-a-tete promo off in the ring. What'd you think of this? What do you like about it? You like this opening show?
Yeah.
Are you here for Drew and Seth?
I'm here more for Drew than I am for Seth.
Do you think it's going to be a good match at WrestleMania?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Are you excited for it?
I mean, I think there's going to be shenanigans. I don't think it's going to be the best match of the night. Like,
Is it going to be? You think it'll be night? It'll be night one, right?
Night two.
It'll be
probably
night two.
open night two.
Really? So you think both heavyweight championships will be defended on night two?
Because Seth is wrestling night one against The Rock.
Oh, I guess you're right. Yeah, they have that tag team match. I forgot about that. Yeah,
I think Seth will open the show and Roman will close it.
That makes sense. Yeah, they're not going to have Seth wrestle twice on night one. So no, that makes sense. I completely forgot about that. What do you think about Seth's line about how Drew's at the very bottom of the thing Seth is worried about at the moment?
He didn't bring up Damian Priest. I'd be worried about Damian Priest.
Yeah, no, I would too. I mean, we talked about it a lot last night at the cookout when we talked about we did our little WWE segment. But yeah, I mean, he's got to do something eventually with that briefcase, and now's as good a time as any. I mean, he
Now's
done
as
it
good
already.
a time as any, indeed.
He should have done it already, but if indeed the goal is to make it as big a spectacle as possible, then WrestleMania is the biggest place you can do it. So, might as well do it and let's get it done. Let's move on with this briefcase
If
already.
not there, he's got to do it the night after Mania, but it makes more sense to do it at Mania.
When is Money in the Bank?
Well, Money in the Bank is in July.
Okay. So he has to do something by then because otherwise he loses the briefcase, right?
Well, is it until the next Money in the Bank or is it one physical year?
I have no idea. So does the physical year come up before? Well, no, the physical year would be after Money in the Bank. Well, it'd be on the date that you win Money in the Bank, right? So in theory, it would be the next Money in the Bank. Well, unless Money in the Bank isn't on the exact same day 1 year later, I guess there could be a few different, little time difference there. But
could you have your match after if you cash it in before the physical year's up, though?
I have no idea.
If you're like, I want to cash in for SummerSlam, is that a thing you can do?
Ooh, that's really good. For after the next, or after the calendar year, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't think anyone's ever done that. I feel like WrestleMania isn't that the longest? Or no, people have cashed it on the night after WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the longest, right? That anyone's waited.
I'm pretty sure nobody's waited past that.
Yeah. Let's see. So yeah, I mean, it was an okay opening segment. Then we got Becky Lynch versus Liv Morgan. It
I
was
came to a thought watching
yes,
this. Uh,
watching
Ro-
this match in particular.
Roxanne Perez reminds me a lot of Liv Morgan, but I like Roxanne Perez more in every way.
Explain to me how she reminds you of her.
The cadence in the promos, the sort of crybabiness to it. They're both tiny. They both work as the underdog. But like everything about Liv Morgan, I like more about Roxanne Perez.
Yeah, well, we'll talk
And
about Roxanne Perez because she's definitely made a heel turn in NXT. We'll talk about her when we get to NXT from yesterday because she had a couple little segments. But yeah, I mean, I like Roxanne Perez better than Liv Morgan. I mean, I didn't really think of it as really a good comparison, but when you put it out, I mean, when you put it like that, I mean, I can see the comparison. So let's see, Becky Lynch and Liv Morgan had this match. Becky Lynch got the win, and then Rhea Ripley came down, and Becky Lynch and Rhea Ripley had a little face to face. What do you think of this match, and then the post match with Rhea?
it's fine. They're setting up stuff past Mania. Naya's still in the mix. Liv is still in the mix, but
Yeah,
it sort of is what it is.
yeah. No, I mean I agree. I mean I there's been a lot of talk about Becky Lynch and being put in this spot and whether she is over pushed, over whatever. And I think to a certain extent, I think she is. But at the same time, I do think that WWE, um, ultimately, it is only has so many women that can be in that top spot, right, in that main event spot. Way
Well,
less than way less than they do men, right?
they
So
have so many women though, like
yeah,
so many great women. Like
yeah. I mean,
like
I mean,
debatedly, their women's roster is deeper than any other roster out there. It's just other companies utilize their women better.
I mean, I guess that's potentially debatable. I mean, we could have a conversation about who the best women's wrestlers are at some point and what companies they're in, and I mean, Becky's definitely one of the best. I mean, I don't think you can argue that. I mean, I'm not the biggest Becky Lynch fan, but that doesn't mean I can't recognize her position and what she does, and how good she is. I mean,
I mean, do you think AEW has a better women's roster?
um,
TNA uses their women the best, but I would not say TNA has the best roster. They just use their talent the best.
I mean, I think when everyone's really healthy, you're talking about those three companies as far as the actual just women on the roster, it's probably fairly close between WWE and AEW. And at times with TNA or Impact, I mean, their roster is, turned over a lot more than the other two's, in my opinion. So there's been times where that knockouts division has been more stacked than others, obviously. Um, the women's division in AEW, the roster is stacked, but everyone's been injured for so long. Lots of people injured at the same time and out at the same time that it feels like it's really down at the moment. But I
Uh,
mean,
Half a
so
year ago, I would have said it was Stardom, but Stardom no longer has Mercedes. Stardom no
I mean,
longer has Kyrie. Stardom no longer is going to have Julia. Like,
just quickly without delving into it, going too far down the rabbit hole. I mean, what are we talking about in WWE? We're talking about Rhea. We're talking about Becky. We're talking about Charlotte, Asuka. I mean,
Bianca,
Io and Kyrie Sane,
Kyrie,
I suppose, are
Bailey.
debatable that Bailey's there. I mean, Io and Kyrie Sane, Kyrie Sane, I suppose, are debatable whether they're at that
You're a
Charlotte.
fan of Nia
Becky.
Jax. I'm a fan of Zelina Vega.
Yeah, neither of them though. I mean, Nia, I guess
Shayna
maybe is a little more
Baszler.
debatable. Yeah, I mean, all of those women are. I think they're all quality women. I just don't know that they're. I mean, maybe given the right push and the right booking,
Hmm.
they would be. But
Well, that's
right
what I'm
now,
saying is they have the talent. They just aren't using them to the best of their ability.
yeah, maybe that's true. I mean, I don't know. I guess we would have to see that to know that. But it feels like their top tier main event is roster for women is very small. To me, it feels like there's like 3 or 4. Where it feels like
I feel
potentially
like
in
they have like
AEW
10.
there's like more that can potentially be. I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe. I guess that's something we can debate at another time. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, Becky is really good, and she should be in the main event picture. So I guess that's really all all it boils down to, right? Let's see. Nick Aldis and Adam Pearce announced, revealed that Finn Balor and Damian Priest will defend their undisputed WWE Tag Team Champions against 5 other teams in a 6-pack challenge ladder match at WrestleMania. Night 1 or night 2?
Say again.
What do you think it's going to be, night 1 or night 2?
This is for the tag teams.
Oh, yeah, the tag team 6-pack challenge ladder match, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, night 1. That way Damian can cash in night 2.
Oh, there you go.
Honestly, they might even open the show with this.
Do you think that Finn and Damian retain, or
No.
do you think they lose their titles here?
I think they lose.
So we're obviously going to have some matches leading up to the teams that get into this 6-pack challenge. Without knowing who the other 5 teams are going to be, do you have a prediction of who you think is going to walk out of WrestleMania with those titles?
It's got to be R-Truth.
Yeah? Who's going to be his teammate?
Is it not going to be The Miz?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe.
That's
interesting.
That's what I was thinking. Is it's going to be R-Truth and The Miz, and then night 2, Damian's going to cash in and become the world champion. So he still has a title. It's going to be Finn who's going to be the odd man out, not having a title.
Interesting. Are you looking forward? Do you think this is a good way to deal with the tag team titles? Are you looking forward to this match?
Yes, and also I think this is the perfect opportunity to debut new belts Raw after Mania.
Yeah, that's definitely a good opportunity to do that. Yeah, I mean, I think this is a fun way to kind of do this. I mean, I'm here for. I always like ladder matches. They always have, good spots, and they always leave me, breathless many times. So I like that. I feel bad for the athletes that have to endure that, but I guess they're getting paid well for it. So
Do you think it's possible they could do this to where one team grabs a belt and the other team grabs another belt and they split the titles?
Oh, suppose that could be possible because there'll be 4 belts up there, right? I mean, yeah. So I suppose that is one way to think about it. I mean, that would be an interesting way to finish it, right? 2 guys at the top of the ladder, one grabs the Raw, one grabs the SmackDown. That'd be an interesting way to go about it. I mean, I'm not sure who's going to do what, but especially without knowing who the teams are that are going to be in the challenge yet. But I'm always looking forward to a ladder match. I mean, I do complain a lot about how when you get what we're going to have 6 times 12 people in the ring at the same time, that you lose a little bit just because the camera can't cover everything and you don't get to see everything. But
what if it's Regeneration X?
Regeneration X?
Yes. What if Miz has a belt, R-Truth has a belt, Johnny Gargano has a belt, and Ciampa has a belt? Regeneration X. Yeah.
That would be funny. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily be opposed to DIY coming out with either one or both of the belts, assuming that they get in. I'm a big R-Truth and Miz fan, so I'm not opposed to them either. Like I said, I guess I'll have to see who ends up making it into the 6-pack challenge. But yeah, I mean, this on its face, this sounds fun. So yeah, let's see. Then we had Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell have a match with Ivy Nile and Maxine Dupree. What do you think just in general? Okay, so let's talk about Maxine Dupree a little bit.
I think this is smart.
Okay, go ahead.
So you got them working with a real life situation of Maxine getting, harassed by the fans during a live show.
Right.
And they turned this into a storyline with Candice LeRae being the bad guy. And I mean, honestly, I'm a fan of Candice. Like she can fit whatever role you need her to do. Like you need her to be an underdog babyface, she can do it. You need her Need her to be the biggest bitch on the roster. She can do that too. I also dig the size differences here because Indy Hartwell and Maxine Dupree are about the same size. And Ivy Niles may be one of two women who's smaller than Candice LeRae on the roster.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I like this. I mean, I think it's, I mean, if you're going to, I mean, I guess you can lean into this and so that it doesn't seem like it's having as big an impact on Maxine Dupree as it very well may be. I mean, as it very well may, I don't know. Good for WWE to just continue to give her the time to develop. Um, at the same time,
And also, this helps to get fans on her side.
I understand, like, I mean, there was a lot of debate. I was watching True Heel Heat. I don't remember which one it was, but it might have been AEW, not AEW. Couldn't have been AEW Ramble. It had to be something else because this is WWE. But they were talking about Maxine Dupree, and they were talking about since when are you not allowed to go in and boo? Like, why is that not okay? Why is everyone standing up for her? And I get it. Like, why is she special? Why should she get any kind of can't boo Maxine Dupree. I mean, if I pay my money and I want to go in and boo, and honestly, I go to wrestling events deliberately to boo, especially
Mm-hmm.
people I don't, the guys that I don't like, right? So, and I've been known to say some nasty stuff. It's all in fun, right? So, I mean,
I
I
was
don't,
definitely booing Seth Rollins when I went.
right, and I don't. So, I mean, I don't necessarily have a problem with anyone booing Maxine Dupree. I mean, I think we're all a little hypersensitive. At the same time, I mean, I don't know. It's as you would think as a performer you know what you're getting into and you're okay with dealing with both the positives and the negatives of it. But some people don't do well dealing with the negatives of it. So I don't know. I mean, I think it was a little weird how everyone kind of jumped to her defense. No one else jumps to anyone else's defense when they get booed, right? So I mean, I don't. It was a little weird, but um, this is an okay way to do this. I mean, putting Maxine Dupree with Ivy Nile, who's an accomplished mixed martial artist and is a real fighter and knows how to move in the ring. I'm not sure she's the greatest wrestler still. She's a lot of time still wrestling, but like she knows how to move in the ring and all that stuff can only help Maxine Dupree. So yeah, I mean, making Candice LeRae the bad guy, I kind of like that. I mean, and Candice and Indy have been together for a long time, so they work well together, as we know. Uh, let's see. Then we had Michael Cole interview Cody Rhodes. What'd you think of this Michael Cole Cody Rhodes interview?
Um, Honestly, I would have preferred Pat McAfee.
Did you like Cody crying? Do you think that makes him look stronger, weaker? I mean, does it change your opinion in any way of him? Does it do
No,
anything? No, no. You think it's over the top, or you think it's
no.
okay? You think it
I
worked
think it's
well the
on
way he
brand for
did it?
Cody.
Yeah, yeah. He's a crybaby.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought it was a little kind of over the top. I feel a little manipulated, just emotionally. Like, he's trying to elicit a sad response, almost like a forced cry, kind of. But at the same time, I get it. It is what it
Mhm.
is. I mean, Cody Rhodes is a sensitive guy. Let's put it that way, right? He's shown this before. This isn't the first time he's hence the term Cody Crybaby. And I know that's not really what Rock is referring to, but it's fitting because that's kind of who Cody is a little bit. So,
Yeah.
but the promo was okay. I mean, I don't. We've talked about this before. I'm going to ask you again, and I'll ask you again, at least two more times before WrestleMania. Rubber chicken time. Does Cody win at Mania? Yes or no?
Revenge of the Rubber Chicken. Everybody, if you're gonna be there, bring your rubber chickens. Let's get it. Bombard the ring.
Bombard the ring. So, do you think Cody wins or loses at WrestleMania?
Loses.
Loses at WrestleMania. Sticking with that. I'm going to keep asking, see if that changes at all before
And I
we
think the
actually
instance
get
where
to
he
Wrestle.
does win is if it's because of The Rock.
Yeah. Let's see. Next, we had women's tag team title match: Kabuki Warriors versus Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark. Just quickly, what do you think about Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark together?
I don't like Zoe Stark.
No, not at all. I mean, I don't dislike her. I don't have a problem with her. I
I
think
don't
she's
actively
shown.
dislike her. I just do not like her. Like she's neutral, net zero. Like I, I don't care.
She just doesn't move the needle for you at all. Yeah, I mean,
Like I don't hate to see her on TV, but I'm not happy to
right.
see her either. It's sort of,
No, I get it. I mean, I felt that way here and there with her. She's not the most memorable character, but when she's in the ring, I think she works okay. I mean, she's a
okay.
decent wrestler and she's an okay promo. She's not great at either, but she's okay. She's obviously more time to develop. I think she could
I,
have a bright future, but
I feel
we'll
like they
just
put
have
her on
to.
the main roster so fast.
They did. They really did. Yeah. Again, we've talked about this, and I've talked about this a lot. Probably, like beating a dead horse. But I'd love to be a fly on the wall. I wonder what determines who gets pulled up when they get pulled up and why and all those things because some people seem like they have to toil so much longer in NXT or in different areas in different parts of the card than others do, even though they're not really ready, right? Like Zoe seemed to be moved up so fast and yet she wasn't quite ready, but like you have other
Everybody
women that
thought
have
Braun Breaker was going to get pushed up a year ago, and he's still in
right.
NXT.
Yeah, and then you have other women like, Roxanne Perez or whoever else that, in theory should be up at the main roster, over as Zoe Stark, and they're not. I mean, I
It's
just,
just she's so young. She has the talent.
right,
She has the pedigree. Like
sure.
she's done plenty to be on the main roster, but she's like 22. So it's
Yeah.
like
No, I'm just
an
saying, I mean,
extra year or two in NXT to cook isn't going to hurt her.
no, I don't think it would. No, it's not going to hurt her at all. And I think that they should both be in NXT myself. But if you're going to bring Zoe up, I mean, it seems like Roxanne's more ready than Zoe. That's
Yes.
my take on it. So, but it is what it is.
I mean, I think she's more ready than Liv, and Liv is a former women's world champion.
Well, there is that. I mean, we can definitely talk about that too. Kabuki Warriors got the win here over Baszler and Stark. I feel like Shayna's been warmed up and cooled down and warmed up and cooled down so much just in her time in WWE. I'd love to see an actual story for her where she wins a real belt and has some time with the belt and actually gets a real push, but that doesn't seem to be happening,
They
really ever.
treat
I don't know.
Shayna sort of the way that they treat Natalia. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, you're great. Yeah, we want to keep you around. Yeah, we're going to put you on TV, but no, we're not going to actually do anything big with you. Like,
right. Yeah. Uh,
the only defense I can find for that is that they're in their 40s,
yeah. Yeah. Let's see.
which
Next
doesn't
we
mean
have
anything for men. Like, for men,
no.
like, usually that's when you start getting your push. Like,
Yeah. No, I mean, I almost wonder, WWE, as far as their women go, they have an aesthetic look that they like, right? It's not, you got to be good in the ring, but also have that almost, I don't want to say model, but you know what I mean, kind of look to them. And maybe there's something with, I mean, maybe they don't like Shayna's look for some reason or something. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they don't think she fits that mold well enough to be a face of the company type of situation. I disagree with that, but maybe that's part of the issue. I don't know.
I
It's bizarre
mean,
to me because she's so good in the ring and even great on the mic that I don't know why she hasn't been,
the big
pushed
surprise
harder and
is
more.
Rhea Ripley, because, like,
Okay.
usually they wait an extra 5 or 10 years before giving a serious push.
Yeah.
Like, Rhea's so young, like, it's kind of crazy. What is she, like,
Yeah.
27?
Something like that. But she's so over. I mean, she's been
Mm-hmm.
so good and been able to get herself over that. Yeah. I mean, it's the right time. I mean, and again, some people just have it, right? You see it like some people just come out and have it. Yeah, And whether you believe he had it from the first time you saw him or not, you get the young John Cena's, you get the young Rocky Johnsons, or Rocky Mayavias. You know what I'm saying? You could see some things in some people, and Rhea Ripley had that. I mean, you can see that at a young age. She did. Will Ospreay is a good example of that. There are some guys people you see that just don't need 10 years of wrestling before they're ready for the big stage, right? They just don't. So,
People fought against Will Ospreay so hard, though.
yeah,
Oh, he's just a flippy dude. He can't actually
right,
wrestle and everything
yeah,
else. And well, let's see how he does on the mic. And he checks
right,
all the boxes, and he's been proving people wrong since day one.
no doubt,
He
100%.
even had to change his entire style because, like everybody wanted, he put on weight. He put on like
Yep.
what, 30 pounds of muscle. He had to
Yeah, he
completely
did.
change his wrestling style.
He did.
And
He
he does
definitely
an
did.
even better job with his new style than he did with the flips.
Yeah, I agree. And he still gets some flips in sometimes, and
Mm-hmm.
looks good doing them still. I mean, no,
It's just now they exhaust him and he has to catch his breath after doing them.
right. Yeah, yeah. Let's see. So that brings us to our Truth versus Damian Priest. Priest gets the win over our Truth. Um, DIY came down in support of our Truth about halfway through the matches. About halfway through the match.
Regeneration X.
Regeneration X. The Truth Judgment Day war is far from over. What do you think of this match? I mean, we talk about how much we love our Truth all the time, like him being here with Judgment Day because it gets him on camera and puts him in a big storyline. What do you think of this match, and what do you think about him with DIY?
I love it. Like, honestly, probably my favorite part of Raw is our Truth.
I can't argue with that. I cannot argue with that.
I mean, he was my favorite part of Raw before he got injured, and then he got injured, and then I was like disappointed for 2 months waiting for WWE to find something else.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, whether it's the little Jimmy stuff, whether it's the 24/7 championship, our Truth makes gold out of whatever he's given, and he's always one of the more exciting and fun people to watch on TV. And yeah, I mean, the more he's on TV, the happier I am. So
I thought for sure he was going to be world champion at Capital Punishment, but in hindsight, I'm like, Vince named it Capital Punishment. Our Truth is an ex-con. Like, he must have been just laughing his ass off, putting an ex-con against John Cena at Capital Punishment.
that's hilarious. That's funny. Let's see. So then we had your boy Yeet Yeet Jay
Why is he my boy?
Uso. I don't know. I'm just fucking with you.
Drew's my boy.
I know. Jay Uso in the ring with a challenge for his twin, his brother, his day one, Jimmy Uso.
Oh, my bad. Drew's not my boy. Me and him are having a feud. You
Oh,
can check
that's
that
right.
out on Enter the Square Circle.
I forgot about that. That's right. You and Drew are at odds. I forgot
We
about
are at
that.
odds. I forgot all about that.
Me too. Let's see. So Jay Uso, what do you think of Jay Uso's in-ring promo and his WrestleMania challenge for his brother?
Um, are we gonna get a special guest referee for it? Because, like,
Oh, that would be interesting.
I mean, just them two facing each other's like. I feel like it needs a bit more. Maybe like a special match type, or at least a
Some
special
sort of
referee.
stipulation or something, or a
Like,
referee or something, or
shoot,
kind of.
have Tamina be the referee. Something.
Do you think that it's a good match? I mean, do you think that the bloodline gets involved and costs Jay the match? Do you think they let them have
I
a good,
think
solid
that
match
they're gonna
here, or
give
what?
it their all.
Yeah.
Like, they're brothers. They've wanted this moment. They've waited for this moment. The moment is finally here. They're
Mhm.
gonna run with it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I mean, they're two of the better wrestlers in WWE, right? I mean, they're one of the best tag teams of all time. They're both good, individual, separate singles wrestlers, and brother versus brother always has that
Yeah.
little added appeal to it, that added emotional, tug to it. And
They've
these two
probably
have done,
dreamed of this since they were 5 years old in the
oh, I'm
backyard.
sure. I'm sure. These two have done a really good job, I think, at kind of building up ultimately to this and this feud between the two of them. So, yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see it. I think it should be a solid WrestleMania match. You think it'll be night one or night two?
Mm. I don't know with this one. This one could really go on either night. It depends on where everything else lays, what the time's looking like. Because this
Right.
feels like one where you can very well just easily go either way. But if I'm going to take a guess, I'm going to guess night one. That way, it ensures that they're not involved in the uh, Roman Rock Cody Seth match.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, it'll be interesting to see where they place them and if either of them gets involved in what's going on with the Cody and Roman match either way. Um, and yeah, I mean, I'm torn. I mean, I feel like Jey Uso should probably get the win, but the bloodline doesn't lose very often, so um, we'll have to see what ends up happening. My guess is at minimum Solo and maybe Paul Heyman will be in Jimmy's corner. I mean, I assume it's got to be at least Solo. Maybe Paul won't come out until he comes out with Roman, but uh, if it's on night one, you'll get Paul and Solo in Jimmy's corner, right? So,
Actually, now that you say that, they could do it night two, and The Rock could come out in defense of Jay.
oh, I suppose that could happen. It's going to be interesting to see. I'm kind of interested to see how it plays out. There's a lot of unpredictable stuff with the WrestleMania this year, I think. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of excited for it. Let's see. And then we had the main event of Monday Night Raw, which was a gauntlet match for a number one contender for Gunther's title at WrestleMania, the Intercontinental Championship. We had Ricochet, JD McDonough, Chad Gable, Sami Zayn, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Big Bronson Reed involved in this match. It's a gauntlet, so it starts off with two. When someone gets pinned, the next one comes in. So started off with Ricochet and JD. Ricochet got the win or the pin on JD McDonough in their little opening. I thought Ricochet got the pin pretty quick, honestly. I mean, I guess he needs to because it's a gauntlet match. You got a lot to do in a short period of time at the end. I think they only have 30 minutes to do it or whatever. So, but I mean, it, it I mean, I don't have a problem with it at all, and I don't have a problem with Ricochet getting the win. I just thought it seemed to end kind of quick. But uh, then we had Bronson Reed coming down to the ring and pinning Ricochet ultimately.
Mm-hmm.
And then Sami Zayn came down, pinned Bronson Reed, which I thought was interesting. I was surprised when he pinned Bronson Reed. Then he had to face Shinsuke Nakamura next, and Sami Zayn bested Shinsuke Nakamura to face finally Chad Gable, and Sami Zayn got the win there, making him the winner of the gauntlet match and the number one contender, and in the match for the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania against Gunther. Sami Zayn won the final three falls, I guess the final three matches, I guess, of this thing, won three in a row to finish this out and take the gauntlet.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't have a problem with Sami Zayn here. I mean, just to see other people, I wouldn't have mind seeing Bronson Reed get the win here or even Nakamura. I mean, Gable, we've seen wrestle Gunther a few times already. He's been kind of in Alpha Academy tangling with Imperium. That's been going on for a while. They've done that. They've kind of beat that horse a little. So, um, I mean, even Ricochet or JD. I mean, like I said, I don't have a problem with Sami Zayn in any way, shape, or form. And if he wins the title, great. I'll be happy for Sami Zayn. I think it would be a huge thing. I don't think he's going to, which I think is another problem. I mean, if you really want Sami Zayn to be a main event competitor, and you really want this title to have that main event feel to it, which I think Gunther has done a good job of really bringing it back to feeling like that. Um, to
I
have Sammy
think
lose, to have
Sammy
Sammy lose
wins.
again. You think Sammy wins, huh?
I think Sammy wins, and next month at Backlash, he's going to cut a promo in French in France.
Interesting. I don't have a problem with
He's
that.
one of
I mean,
what, two people on the roster that speaks French. Like,
yeah.
yeah, have him be champion, have him cut a promo for the live audience in French.
What do you think the chances are he loses at WrestleMania and then gets a rematch and wins in Canada to make
Uh,
it more? I mean, I don't know. I mean, it seems like that would be if I'm Sami Zayn, I'd rather win at WrestleMania. But I guess as long as you ultimately win, it doesn't really matter.
I mean, that's the whole
Yeah,
thing, is that even if you beat the champion still has the rematch clause. You have to beat him twice.
right.
So, like, I think he beats Gunther and then he has to face Gunther again in France. So,
Yeah. Uh,
the question is, can he beat Gunther twice?
so you think you believe you agree that Sami Zayn is the best choice of these people to face Gunther at
I mean, a lot of people say
WrestleMania?
Chad Gable, but I prefer Sami Zayn over Chad Gable.
I mean, I tend to like Sami Zayn more than Chad Gable just in general. And I do think we've seen Gable already. Like I said, we've kind of been there, done that with Gable and Gunther. So, yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with this. I mean, me personally, I would have rather seen Bronson Reed or Shinsuke, but Sami Zayn's there. I
I
don't have a problem with that.
I very well could see Sami Zayn winning, but only holding the title for a month and losing it back to Gunther at Backlash.
Yeah, that would be kind of unfortunate, but I guess
I
I can see that.
and then Gunther holding the title up through Bash in Berlin late summer.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose that's possible. I guess we'll just have to
Like,
see ultimately how.
honestly, I could see Gunther winning the title back at Backlash and holding it into next year.
Ugh, jeez.
Like,
I mean,
maybe
WWE's.
dropping it at the Royal Rumble.
I mean, WWE's definitely on a let's have long. They seem to want to have long title runs at the moment. So, it
But
seems to be fairly par for the course. I mean,
it would
So
just be a
yeah. I
little
mean,
break in the middle of Sami Zayn having the title for a month.
which I mean, if you're Sami Zayn, feels a little disingenuous. But at the same time, I mean, I guess it's better than nothing. I mean, I suppose holding it for a month is better than nothing. I mean, it feels a little
And
bit like a
isn't it
consolation prize and a little bit like here you can have it, but you're not going to get to hold it for any time. Like,
isn't it better than Gunther just holding the title straight for 3 years? If there's at least a
well,
month break
sure,
in the middle.
100%, but it still doesn't change the fact that Gunther's held it for 3 years and it's way too long. I mean, it doesn't, I mean, well, we've got Roman holding that belt for 4 years and Gunther holding this belt for 3 years. And I mean, Jesus Christ. Like, I mean, what are we into?
Well, I don't think it's
So,
3 years yet. I think it's 2 years now, but like I
right.
see
I'm
it
just
going
saying, I mean,
2 years.
right. I'm just saying if it does, I mean, even at 2 years now, it's been a long time. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I get it if you don't, you don't have anyone clearly that you want to have beat him. You're not ready for him to be, beaten or shown. So just have him say like people have done in the past with other titles. I'm vacating this title because I want a shot at the heavyweight championship, and this title I don't want it anymore. Whatever the case may be. I mean, or have him have two belts. I mean, he should be pressing for Seth or Roman's belt at this point. I mean, he doesn't. To just kind of tread water and hold the Intercontinental Championship, just I don't know. It's not. The longer he holds it, the colder it gets. I think ultimately. I mean, that's just my opinion.
I think his belt means more than Seth's.
Ooh, does his belt mean more than Seth's? That's a good question. Interesting. I hadn't really thought about that, but I don't know. I'd have to give that some thought. I mean, on the surface, I mean, he's had a really good run and he's definitely, raised the stature of that belt. And with Seth's belt being a brand new belt and not having really any kind of history or weight behind it, really, I mean, I guess you could say that, in WWE canon, the Intercontinental title is a more prestigious belt because of its history than Seth's belt because it doesn't have any history. But I think if you ask Gunther, would you rather be Intercontinental Champion or World Heavyweight Champion? He'd rather be World Heavyweight Champion. I mean, I still think even with as much as he's raised its profile, I still think that's a second tier belt. You know what I'm saying? A second level belt. I mean, so I don't know. I mean, that's an interesting question. So that wraps up Raw, and we can move on to our NXT review. First of all, I guess before we finish that, what did you think of Raw for Monday night overall?
Oh, it was good. Not great,
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
but
I
like
enjoyed it.
solid 3 out of 5,
I would agree with
maybe
that.
three and a
And let
half.
me just say, I've started now watching Raw and NXT on Hulu, and I'm very thankful for Hulu because it gets down. The 3 hours is down to like an hour and 45 minutes on Hulu. It's great. It feels like it's on and off real quick for Monday Night Raw. So, and one of my biggest complaints is the 3 hour, the 3 hours. So, I'm very thankful for Hulu. I feel like I'm getting to watch it but getting to see it all too. So I'm very happy about that. Yeah, I thought it was a good Raw. I mean, not great, nothing spectacular, but solid. I thought it was solid for what it was. Let's see. So that brings us to this week's NXT, which kicked off. Why is that there? That's not supposed to be there. This was first. Hold on. Ugh, where did it go? Okay. I got my banners out of order. So it kicked off with the triple threat qualifier match between Out the Mud and LWO, Joaquin Wild and Cruz del Toro, to face Lima, and I forget what their names are. Price, and I forget what the other guy's name is right
They
now.
just
But
silently put these guys back onto NXT.
yes, they did. Yes, they did. LWO got the win as Del Toro assisted Joaquin Wild, and it was kind of a cool looking 450 splash from the middle of the top rope where Wild was holding him, and he kind of springboarded and kind of flew. It looked kind of cool. A different twist to that 450 splash, so I kind of like that. It doesn't surprise me. LWO gets the win here, especially in a qualifier for the tag team titles. OTM is OTM, but they're kind of jobbers still at the moment. I think they want to give them a push, but they haven't really done that yet. I thought that once they gave them scripts and they had a manager and stuff that they were going to give them more time and a bigger push, but we just haven't really seen that. So, and they tend to lose. They tend to be kind of the first people out in these kind of matches. So,
Yeah,
what do you think? Anything you want to say about it?
it was fine.
It was fine for what it was.
Mm.
Uh,
Moving on.
let's see. We had Duke Hudson and Andre Chase backstage asking Thea Hale, who her partner was going to be tonight. She says it won't be JC Jane because she's off with her new friend. And Thea's, so Kalani Jordan walks in and ends up deciding to be Thea's partner tonight. Let's see. Then we had Ilya show up at Tony D's restaurant to have a chat. First off, Tony D has a new member of the family. What do you think of the new member, the consigliere?
I'm down like a clown, Charlie Brown. Actually, while this was going on, I was thinking, if they put Julia in NXT, like it wouldn't be a bad thing to have her in the family.
Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to that per se. I would not be opposed to that. Uh, I I I wonder if they aren't sowing the seeds for some sort of dissension or breakup with Stax and the Dawn. Stax, I'm assuming, got passed over as consigliere, and that's why there's a new guy. So Stax, I mean, he seems to be. I couldn't tell if there were Stax had a couple little funny looks on his face at the table, like I don't know about this guy. I don't, maybe a little irritated. He got maybe passed over, so it could be a way to sow some dissension there. I don't know
Sort
that
of a
Stax.
sort of a Brody Lee, Randy Orton, Wyatt family situation.
Yeah, I could kind of see that. I mean, I don't know that Stax is good enough to go like out on his own per se. I think he needs the family and Tony D, but that doesn't mean they couldn't try to do that if they wanted to.
Maybe they
But
worked
yeah,
out their
no.
differences.
So they kidnapped Dragunov. What do you think about the kidnapping? This overall segment.
Usually, when they kidnap people, they move up to the main roster.
This is true. This is
So
very
you could be
true.
seeing Dragunov going to the main roster after Mania.
That would mean he's probably losing his belt,
Mm-hmm.
right? Whatever our next, sheesh, I had it up, but I forget what the next pay per view is. But there's a pay per view on April 6th, WrestleMania weekend for, I think it might be Stand and Deliver. Um, so yeah, I mean, if I think Ilya right now, when I look at the NXT roster, Mello, Ilya, Braun Breaker, those are the three guys that stand out to me as the most ready to go up to the main roster and have a successful career on the main roster and actually be able to be used successfully. So I think Ilya's been ready. So um, yeah, I mean we'll see what ends up happening at WrestleMania or at whatever the pay per view is if he loses the title. But yeah, you're right. They do get kidnapped to go to the main roster. So let's see. Then we had your girl. I am calling her your girl because she is your girl in her in ring segment. Roxanne
Whoop,
Perez,
whoop.
Foxy Roxy. She is in the ring giving her best
Mhm.
heel promo, kind of whining and complaining, right, about everything. And
Becky
how
came
she's
down and she kicked my ass. And what did you do? You all cheered her. I was chopped
exactly,
liver.
exactly. And then Lyra, yeah, talked shit about Lyra Valkyria and her weirdo friend, Lola Vice. Um,
Is she wrong? Is she
no,
wrong?
no. Tell me when she's lying. Tell me when I'm lying. Tell me when I'm telling lies. No, I mean I thought this was okay. I mean this is, this is a classic kind of heel promo. You know the turn and the, you didn't support me. We've seen this trope a million and one times. As far as wrestling goes. So there's nothing original there.
But if it
I
ain't
thought
broke,
she
why
was.
fix it?
Yeah, no, I mean, I tend to agree. It works. So, and I thought she did a good job of delivering it and playing the role. And she's right to a certain extent. Um, Tatum Paxley hops a barricade to attack Roxanne Perez at the end. I'm not totally sure what all that is about, but I guess we're going to get Roxanne and Tatum. I assume from that. Um, so overall, I thought it was an okay segment. Then we got Mr. Uninspired versus Mr. Terrible. Lexus King versus Mr. Stone. I hate Mr. Stone, and Lexus King for me has been very forgettable so far. He hasn't done anything to really move the needle for me. I
I
mean,
think this match was back to the pack.
yeah, for sure. I mean, I want to really like Lexus King. I don't like the name. I still just want to call him Brian Pillman Jr. But excuse me, I want to really like him because I do like him in general. But this character is not doing it for me. It's very bland.
There's
It's very
something
boring.
there, but we're not seeing it. You know,
Yeah. Let's see. So then backstage, Lexus tries to attack Stone again. Von Wagner makes the save. Assume that means we're getting Von Wagner and Lexus King in a match, probably next. I honestly couldn't care less about this whole feud. So, like you said, back of the pack for sure. Let's see. North American Championship match next. Oba Femi versus Brooks Jensen. It was a little bit of a squash ultimately. Um, you
but
know,
this is going to lead up to the match that we want to see:
yeah,
Obafemi versus Josh Briggs.
yes, I agree with that. What do you so talk to me a little bit about Oba Femi? What do you think of him so far? You
Um,
think he's doing good? You think he's been good with the title? You think he has the title? Rightful that he has the title? Where
he's
do you see
he's
him going?
he's great, but his cadence on the mic needs work.
Yeah, I think his promos and his talking is probably his weakest skill at the moment. He looks really good in the ring. I mean, he has the look, he's got the physique, he's got all that. I think he's got a pretty decent move set. It doesn't seem to be too, one move. It's not just like all he does is power bombs or German suplexes. He has a variety of moves that he does. And so he seems to move pretty fluid for a big guy. So far, I mean, I like him. I mean, like I said, I think the promos is the only part that
And
the
with the
talking
promos,
is
he's
where he,
saying the right stuff. He's just not saying it just right, you know.
Yeah,
Like,
no, I agree. He needs a little bit of work there, but I think he's got a bright future
hmm
if they use him right. I mean, and Brooks Jensen, doesn't surprise me. He takes a loss here. Brooks kind of, even though I think he deserves a little bit better, has become kind of a jobber that you know.
I don't think he deserves anything after all that Degrassi freaking soap opera bullcrap that they put me through for months.
That's funny. So yeah, ultimately you're right. This is going to lead to Brooks or to Josh Briggs versus Obafemi, which is, like you said, the match we really want to see. So I wouldn't necessarily mind not seeing Brooks Jensen again, honestly, which is unfortunate because I don't dislike the guy. I just think they've done a terrible job with him. So let's see. Then we had D'Angelo. This was the weirdest part for me. This was so fucking weird. So D'Angelo drops Dragunov off at a bridge, reminds him that he can have Dragunov ended at any time, and tells him to enjoy the walk home. Like this was weird. Like I kept expecting Dragunov to get attacked at some point. Like it just didn't seem right. Like the way it ended. Like he just let him walk off. Yeah, he had to walk home, but so what? Like I mean, I just kept expecting him to get attacked or thrown off the bridge. Something to make it more dramatic. Tony D just saying I can ruin you and enjoy your walk home wasn't enough for me as far as this segment went. What about you?
I mean, I didn't have any problems with it personally. Like, I mean, maybe if they were like, "Oh, and here's your leftovers," and threw a to-go box at his face, maybe that would have cooked it up just a little more for me. But I don't think I needed him to be attacked at all.
Yeah. Let's see. So then we had Ariana Grace versus Gigi Dolan, and if Gigi Dolan loses, she has to allow Ariana Grace to mentor her. Ariana Grace does get the win, so Gigi Dolan
By DQ,
is by DQ. Yes,
for which
Dolan
I
has
think
been.
is the first time ever that a women's match has ended by disqualification for a low blow.
Oh, maybe so. Yeah, I mean, you don't normally see women low blowing each other. I mean,
No.
that's generally a male thing.
Yes, it is.
So, uh,
But a win's a win.
what I mean, are you at all interested in this Ariana Grace Gigi Dolan story and Ariana mentoring her? And I mean, does this do anything for you? Do you like these guys any better or worse for this story or what?
I'm not interested in either of these women.
Yeah, me either. And I'm not interested in this story at all either. It doesn't do anything for me. I don't. Yeah, they can both go away. Let's see.
I'm on the record as
Backstage.
never being a fan of toxic attraction. So
Yeah. Backstage, we see Kalani Jordan is laid out, which means Thea Hale doesn't have a partner. So she comes down to wrestle against Kiana James and Izzy Dame by herself.
mhm.
But before you know it, music hits and Fallon Henley comes out to help Thea Hale. So
Did
we
Fallon
actually,
Henley get new ring gear?
I don't know if she did. I didn't really notice. I didn't pay that much attention, honestly. This was one where I got up to pee and didn't pay a whole lot of attention. I can't lie. I don't. I I don't dislike Thea Hale. I don't know. She just doesn't make me want to she just doesn't keep my eyes on the television. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And
I will
none of
say
the four of
that
these women do,
tonight
honestly.
I was won over by Fallon Henley.
Uh,
Tonight I was
Kiana
like,
James,
there's something there. There's something there. I can see her doing something.
yeah.
And I
Uh,
thought she was the best member of this tag match tonight.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that as far as in the ring work goes. I would agree with that. James and Dame got the win ultimately, in which caused Thea Hale to grab the mic and start screaming at JC Jane about what happened to them. They thought they were best friends and basically tell JC Jane she's no longer wants to be associated with her to fuck off and that she's going back to the old Thea Hale. And then started doing her run around the ring. I thought when she started running around the ring and JC Jane was in the ring that she was going to attack her, but She just did her little circular laps around the ring, and okay. So now we have the old Thea Hale back. What do you think about that?
I'm playing the world's smallest violin just for her.
Did you like? Do you like the old? You like Thea Hale with JC Jane better, or better before when she would just chase you, Thea Hale?
Neither.
Neither.
Um,
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan either. So
well, when she started going with JC Jane, I felt so awkward listening to commentary talking about, this 19-year-old girl, she's all grown up now. She's a woman now. And it's like,
uh,
hold up. I'm not quite comfortable with this conversation.
and you're only 20. You're only 10 years older than her. Think about me, who's 30 years older than her, and I got to, try to sell her to me as a sex object. And I'm like, dude, I have kids older than her. Like my daughters are almost 10 years older than her. Like that, yeah, I can't. No. Yeah, you'll see. The older you get as a man, the weirder it is because they always trying to sell young women as sex objects. But you're like, I can't really look at them. They're 25 years younger than me, whatever. It's like, okay, doesn't feel right. Moving right along, Ridge Holland versus Sean Spears. Sean Spears is back in WWE after his time in AEW. Kind
Surprisingly,
of,
a pretty good match here.
I'm kind of surprised he's going by Sean Spears instead of just back to Ty Dillinger. I'm kind of surprised they let him keep Sean
Mm-hmm.
Spears. I mean, okay,
Oh well,
yeah, no, I mean,
that's the thing is that WWE doesn't let you take your name outside, but they're fine with you bringing your name outside in, especially for NXT. It's when you
yeah,
get to the main roster that they're like, name change. You're
name
Butch now.
change. Yep. No, this was a really good match, and in fact, probably the best match of the night, honestly. When it really boils down to just looking at the actual in-ring work and the match itself, I thought it was probably the best match of the night. Which is,
Which Rich Holland isn't really known for that. So
no,
you know who to
nor is
credit for
Sean
that.
Spears per se. I like Sean
Yeah,
Spears, but nor
yeah.
is Sean Spears per se. I mean, I think Spears has had a better career and has a little bit better reputation than Ridge Holland. But no, Spears has not necessarily been known for having the greatest matches either. But I thought these two had good chemistry. I would, I want to say I was surprised a little bit to see Sean Spears get the win here, just because it feels like Ridge Holland has been the guy that they've wanted to push for a while, but I know he keeps getting injured and and he's had a little couple setbacks. So I don't know. I mean, maybe they're going to try to push Sean Spears again, which I'm not opposed to. Maybe they're just building up so Ridge Holland can get a bigger
I
win
like
over him.
Sean
I mean, I don't.
Spears. I'm a fan.
I do too. I do too. I've always been a Sean Spears fan, so um, I definitely don't have a problem with that. And I didn't have a problem with Sean Spears getting the win here. He hit the C4 on a chair. Um,
I'm happy he's not wearing like the high shouldered vests. I'm glad that's a thing of the past and that's not coming back.
Yep, I would agree with that. No, I mean, I like Sean Spears. I'm happy to see him back, and I'm happy to see him on TV. I mean, I was happy to have him in AEW. So
Yeah, but AEW wasn't wanting to use them, so
that's true. He wasn't getting a lot of in-ring time in AEW, so I guess if he's getting more in-ring time here, all the better. Or if he's gonna get more in-ring time here, all the better.
I mean,
Let's
I
see.
loved his segments with MJF on AEW.
Yeah,
Like he was so entertaining, and like I felt like he always went the extra mile. And
I agree.
it feels like he never got rewarded for doing it.
I agree.
Remember
I agree.
when Dustin Rhodes stripped him down to his underwear? Like how many
Yeah,
wrestlers are willing to do that?
yeah. No, I agree. I like Sean Spears. I think he hasn't gotten the proper push that he probably deserves. Maybe he will now. I mean, he's in NXT, so we'll have to see. But I mean, maybe he's destined for the main roster not too, shortly here. So, but I liked this match. I thought it was definitely the best match of the night. Then we had the main event segment, which was Trick Williams in ring promo.
And it was a good
Basically,
one.
it was. It was. I thought Trick came off really good here.
Like
I
this made me
am.
like feel like he is main roster ready.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I'm willing to quite go that far yet. I still need to see a little more. I think this match against Mello at NXT is going to show us a lot, or at Stand and Deliver is going to show us a lot. I'm looking forward to it because Mello's definitely main roster ready, and we're going to see, if Trick can hold his own, then, yeah, I mean, um, I really like these two together, but I also don't mind this story and I don't mind this feud. I thought Trick did a really good job of looking really, frustrated and upset and hurt and pissed and all that stuff to hype
Mhm.
this up. Um, and Mello's done a good job of being, a dick. I mean, Mello is Mello, right? He doesn't miss. He is him, and somebody else stealing any kind of his thunder, I could see, pissing him off and making him, you know, bitter and petty.
Well, if
So
he's
I
pissed
think
off,
this
he's
fits.
no longer mellow.
That's true. But I do think this fits though for his character.
Hmm.
So I'm here for it. I thought this was a good promo. This was the best Rick Williams has been on the mic, in my opinion. I thought this was his best work on the mic. Yeah, I'm here for it. I thought it was a solid way to end NXT this week. What about you?
Oh, there's definitely a line that I was going to bring up, but I forgot what it was.
Oh,
So,
oh, oh! What'd you think of him kissing Lash Legend?
oh, that's right. Noam Dar came out.
Yeah, yeah. Metaphor,
That reminds me,
metaphor.
I remembered the line. I remembered the line. So Charlie Dempsey and his boys were backstage, and the person was like, "That cup, that Heritage Cup, that's from where I'm from, and you don't know anything about that because you're born and bred in Atlanta." And I'm just like, "Bruh, bruh, that's William Regal's son. Like, what
Right?
is going on? Who wrote this? Like, we know that's William Regal's son. We know he's not born and bred in Atlanta.
I thought that
He
was
even
funny. That
has a
was a good,
British accent. He does not sound
right?
like he's from Atlanta.
No, that was a funny segment. That was a good little segment. I like Catch Point, Catch whatever they call themselves, Catch Point. What is it called? Uh, Catch Network something. I have no idea what they call themselves, but
Like,
uh,
what is this? The Walking Dead, where all these British people have to pretend that they're from Atlanta? Like, what's
that's
going
funny.
on?
That's funny. But yes, ultimately, Noam Dar came out to the ring with Lash Legend, and Trick Williams kissed Lash Legend, leaving her flustered. She didn't look like she minded it too much. Noam Dar was a little put off by it, was kind of giving her some shit about it at the end. And Trick came off looking really good, standing tall in the ring at the end,
Can't we just let Charlie Dempsey be the Blackpool badass? Like, what?
right?
Why are we doing this? Why
I don't know.
are we
That's
doing
a really
this?
good question. That's a really good question. All right. So that was the end of NXT from last night, which brings us to the end of our show. I'm going to put up our schedule real quick and then we're going to get up out of here. Here is our schedule. On Mondays at 10 a.m. Eastern, you get Seeing Stars with Dolores and J News, where they talk about New Japan, pro wrestling, Stardom.
Wait.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You asked me when I liked Thea Hale the best.
Yes.
I liked her best with Charlie Dempsey in them.
Yeah.
That's when she was the best.
Yeah. Can't argue with that. They do, let's see, Back to Seeing Stars on Monday. They do Wrestling Revolver. They talk about a lot of indie shows. They spotlighted indie wrestlers, so make sure to check that out. It's a really good show for all of your kind of indie and up and coming, i.e., seeing stars that we're seeing up and coming. So Tuesday night we get the cookout 10 p.m. Eastern time, 10:30 Eastern time, p.m. Eastern time, 7:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, where we talk about all that's cooking up in the world of professional wrestling. It's usually all four of us, the four workhorses. Then on Wednesday, you get all for NAWT, which is what we're here for right now. You're with us right now for that. 10:15 p.m. Eastern, 7:15 p.m. Pacific, where myself and Sammy Joe talk about Monday Night Raw and NXT from the days before. Tomorrow, we got Aftermath of Dynamite, myself and Anika talking about the week in AEW. We'll talk about Rampage, Collision, and Dynamite from last night, or from tonight now. It'll be tonight. And that's at 10:15 Eastern, 10:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7:15 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Then on Friday nights, we have Friday Night Fights, which is our live watch along where we watch SmackDown and Rampage. And if there's other pay per views on, we will watch those. It's generally Sammy Joe and Anika. Sometimes you'll get someone filling in, but make sure and join us on Friday for that live watch along. That starts at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern with SmackDown. Then on Saturday in the morning, you get the pre-recorded show of Under the Radar, which is myself and CM talking about MLW, Impact, or TNA Wrestling, which it is now, Ring of Honor, and being the Dark Order or being the Elite, whatever's going on at the moment with being the who's ever doing that at the moment. We will be discussing those. Then join us again Saturday night for Saturday Night is All Right, where we have our Collision watch along starting at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, where we will watch Collision live and give you our live responses and opinions and reactions to the show in real time. Then on Saturday, coming back, or Sunday, coming back, I believe not this Sunday, but next Sunday, we will have, well, let's see, we're in this week. This Sunday, we should have an Enter the Square Circle. So that's at 11 a.m. on Sundays. That's 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific, where myself and Sammy Joe duke it out on WWE 2K23 or WWE 2K, whatever year it is. We'll probably switch to 24 since I just got it after we conclude the Royal or the round robin to declare a number one contender for Bobby Lashley's King of the Squared Circle Championship. So, anything you want to say?
We also got to figure out what to do for the mid card because our mid card champion's not in the new game.
Oh, he's not. Oh, interesting. We can't download him either.
Maybe, you'll have to check that out
and see.
Mm-hmm.
I have to check that out and see if we can download. Yeah, poor Matt Riddle won the
But
title.
this tournament will be the last tournament for the old game, and we'll be transferring over to the new game after this tournament's done.
That is correct. All right, so unless you got anything else to say about Monday Night Raw or NXT, I'm going to put up the outro and we're going to get out of here.
Peace, love, and rock and roll.
See you next week.